Hey YouTube, Lawler here. This one's going to be a tough one. And I know the comments are not going to be happy with what we do, but at this point it doesn't matter. If you guys don't know, this is the top 10 power rankings. We do this every 2 weeks after both regions, or all regions in this case, finish their results for the previous Open. So Open 5 is concluded. We're done with that. We now have our teams, all with their results going into their third and final event, making it into Raleigh. Just as a blanket statement for you all, these are not easy. We probably spent the last half hour with chat kind of going through these and kind of talking through the mentality and shifting the list quite a bit. And the reality is what we came up with is, one, open for debate, as always. And two, I think when you start talking about stuff, when we start changing things up, when we start looking at the like 3 to 10 rankings, there is a lot of debate for people being able to move up and down. The power rankings are supposed to be an embodiment of how would they compete and how would they perform across all competition, not just head-to-heads. Because when you start looking at head-to-heads and you start talking about stylistic tendencies and differences, it makes it very, very difficult to make those arguments. If two teams are back and forth, I'm going to go, okay, well, historically, how do these players play on LAN? Obviously, they all have pop-off potential, but I've touted on this channel for years. Once you get top 8, it's a coin flip. How did you prepare? How are you feeling on the day? You know, are you feeling a little sluggish? Are you a little sleepy? You know, those things come into factor. The human element is very much so real, which is why we tune in and watch. It is what makes the RLCS amazing on LAN. So let's criticize what I've got. I know these are not going to be how things rate, but I think I can make arguments for why people are in the place that they are. So we're going to try to do exactly that. I got to make sure I don't tab so you guys see what the results are right away. So first things first, in the honorable mentions, we are going with Twisted Minds. From what I've seen so far, the split has not been great. They're not even making grand finals and winning. They're not being competitive. And this is coming from someone who thinks Falcons has not looked great lately. I think Falcons has been pretty heavily overrated. I know they still have their efforts on LAN. I know they still have the ability to go and be competitive and do their thing. Even in Birmingham, they put up a really good game 7. Like, I understand that Falcons, when the lights and the camera are rolling, they'll put up a fight on LAN. I get that. Twisted Minds, though, online is losing to Rock. Rock is the one that's ascending lately. Like, Twisted Minds does not look good. I look at their open events, and I'm just like, what is this team doing? Like, it is disconjointed. I still know they are fully capable of going and competing. It's still very likely that they're going to be the ones that make the major. But the cool thing is you've got a 3-horse race for it. Obviously, Falcons is 1-2 back-to-back. It's between Twisted and Rock, and I'm excited to see that. Maybe we put Rock here instead, but I think Twisted, historically, and with the veteran status, is probably going to find a way to clutch it out. But I have not been keen on Twisted. You can make arguments for maybe putting Space Station here instead, who have been ascending and looking pretty solid. And very excited to see those young kids on LAN. They will, I can almost guarantee, if you guys watch my predictions, you guys know my opinion of who's making it already. So, but yeah, maybe Space Station here instead. We'll see how it goes. Next, a team that is trending in a very good direction and something I'm very excited for is GenG. I'm not moving them up or down in this case. I think GenG, while other teams I have moving down, I have them staying put, which I think is more of a testament to how I feel about how they're performing. At the end of the day, they're beating some of the best competition in North America. They've had very close matches due to like internet issues with LJ, where it's like, hey man, you got a chance to knock down your competition and secure a spot in the top 3. And they did. And they did it pretty well, 4-2. LJ arguments he's on his buddy's account, you know, somewhere else, not playing in his home setup, but that applies even more so when it comes to the LAN. So I do think GenG and the addition of Justin has been a very good one. It's like the complete antithesis of Frosty going to Complexity. They have gotten better in every aspect. Magic Bear and Cheese look unleashed. It feels as if they are finally playing a playstyle that they feel comfortable in. They don't have to force demos. They don't have to, like, it just seems like the guys are finally, training weights are off. Let's just play. And I think it's working everybody else. I think Justin's mentality is getting better because he's having fun again. Like, it's been really fun. The issue is I haven't really seen them tested. I haven't seen them really go up against international competition, so I have a question mark or a disclaimer on them. The biggest thing with them is going to be when they get to LAN, because I'm assuming they are going to make top 6 through uppers in their group, which guarantees their spot. Can just to make top 8 and play in front of a crowd. I'm hoping for it, selfishly. Number 9, a team that I'm here and there on. They didn't have the greatest result this past weekend, but still competitive is GK. I had them going down just a tiny bit. Oli felt a little bit displaced, I would say. I think if I was talking tiebreakers and who's going to win in that 5th and final round of Swiss, I would have them probably losing to the competition ahead of them currently. Still competitive, still making top 4s, still likely to be fighting for a land spot with mates. But if I was talking a head-to-head right now on who's going to beat them, it's exactly that. I'm taking mates. I think mates is looking great. I think the Eugen edition's been great. I think Seiko and Juicy feel really comfortable on offense. Eugen's playing patient. He's getting his confidence going. He's becoming less hesitant each and every series. They're winning really tough series too in game 7s. They're winning the matches that matter. I think I'm very excited to watch this mates team, and I would not be surprised if they're the 4th team. Right now in EU and NA, there is 2 teams fighting for 1 spot, essentially. Ultimates is going against the rest of their competition for that 4th and final spot, whether it be complexity or otherwise. I would take Ultimates in that conversation. And then for mates, it's between mates and GK. I think NIP is out of the conversation as well. So I think between these 2 teams, if I'm talking direct head-to-head, I'm going mates. But I know GK has pop-off potential. I know on land, those guys cook. They're chaotic. So I'm not going to go on potential on this one. I'm going on what I'm seeing. I'm going off the trend, and I'm going with mates. I really like what mates is doing. I think it's been a lot of fun. Up next is Furia. Furia to me is a unique one because they are losing for the first time, ironically enough. Furia has conceded to Team Secret. They are tied at like 30 points apiece, I think it is, in South America. Still going to the grand finals, still competing. But my issue with Furia has been, while they have made adjustments over the years, they have improved on defense. They're more controlling the ball. It's not just boom, solo, air dribble type stuff. They're a little bit more methodical in their play. I just haven't seen the performance yet that I want to. And I know you look back at like Birmingham and I go, hey, you guys beat Vitality in game 7. And that's just the trend of the way it goes. Hey, we lost to Vitality and Swiss, therefore we get to beat them in the bracket. And we've seen that inverse happen so many times. But outside of that, Furia to me has not been able to beat the top competition. When they get into semifinals, they falter. And the difficulty is I have them in a top 8 match, right? I don't have them beating their counterparts. The top 4s, the teams that they're going to have to beat here, I don't see them beating because I historically haven't been able to. So I do like Furia. I think they have a lot of potential. They're in the top 10 in the world, in my opinion, ahead of some as well. But I have not seen the evolution of Furia to keep them moving forward while some of these other teams have continued to move up and progress. So maybe I'm wrong. I do like watching Lost and those guys play. I think they're absolutely fantastic. But in the head-to-head against the top tier, I have them dropping. Hey there, folks. Up next at number 6, and this one and the next couple are where it gets really, really difficult. I have Ultimates. This one's tough for me because they have been trending downward, hence them moving down in the list. Since, and we talked about this one quite a bit, since they took 2nd place at the major, they've been dealt some pretty difficult hands when it comes to bracket situations. They had to play Energy for top 6 and ended up losing in game 7. So a really close fight. Again, sometimes it happens. If Energy doesn't go 3-0 in Swiss, then they have weird results in the bracket play and stuff happens. So Ultimates in that one lost to Energy, a very close series in 7. And then in the next one, LJ's power goes out. They have to forfeit against Little Step Bro. So Team Evo gets a guaranteed top 6. And if that doesn't happen, then realistically, they're playing strictly business. They're making top 4. And then they've got to fight against Space Station instead, which is winnable, but who knows how that goes. So Ultimates, I think, has had a little bit of unluckiness to their results. But the thing that really drops them down for me is while LJ is on an unfamiliar setup, he's playing at his buddy's house or whatever you want to say, I don't know if that's enough of an excuse to be losing to GenG, who's 4-2 in that series. Again, I can understand the difficulty of having those problems happen and trying to bounce back, but I think on land, where it's a controlled environment in regards to like making sure everything that you expect is going to happen, I do have Ultimate still being a team that should be in competition. They're in the top half, essentially. I still think they're fully capable, but they have not been winning the big matches that they need to. Outside circumstances excluded. So I don't know where to put ultimates. I do have some teams moving up, though, and there's more of the reason. It's more teams performing better than them performing worse. To me, there's like a placeholder on ultimates. I just don't know yet how I feel. Like, these are really difficult to order, by the way. This one, a lot of people are going to be like, how dare you? They should be higher. Is Dignitas. I have them moving up a bunch. We've been watching, and hear me out, we've been watching for a really long time, basically a 3-horse race, 4-horse race in EU. K-Corp's at the top. We ignore them. And then it's been Dignitas. It's been Vitality. It's been GK. It's been NIP. It's been Mates. It's been a lot of fun watching like 5 teams really, really fight for 3 spots each, essentially. And even with Dignitas winning the most recent event, and Jack, hats off to you, man. Jack played out of his mind. I still was not all that convinced. Based upon what I am seeing, while we know they are capable of going and doing the thing, which is why they are moving up, they're winning the tough matches and then excelling past that where others haven't. I'm giving them their flowers for that reason. They lost to Fast Forward and Swiss. They went to a Game 7 against Mates and could have easily have lost there instead, and we could be talking about a totally different situation. Against Vitality, sure, they went up 2-0, and then they got shut out for 2 games, and then they barely won, and it was a Game 6 OT that easily could have went to 7 against a Vitality that looked like absolute dookie booty. And the only reason we criticize Vitality as heavily as we do is because of the players that they have on their team and the expectations we set for them. So, like, you're still playing a really close series against a team that we have objectively said is not playing well, which is concerning. So, I think the biggest nod to Dignitas is they were able to go against a team that has been at the top for so long and win when others have not. To me, that holds a lot of weight. So much, in fact, we moved them up 4 places in the power rankings, even though I still, in my heart of hearts, don't know where to put them. I think if we start talking about close series and how they perform on LAN, I've got my concerns. I think anytime you talk about teams that are fighting for a top 8 spot, it's a coin toss, man. I think Dignitas has the potential. Stizzy's playing better. He's making less mistakes. He's being more assertive in his play. Jack is playing great. And Jorius, when he gets involved, has his moments as well. I have some concerns still, and those aren't going to be answered until we see them at the major, which they will be there. They got to win 1 game. I don't see them going 0-2 in groups. I think they'll be okay. Knock on wood. I would like to see them go and compete. At number 4, this one I have some problems with as well, but the matter of the fact is, to me, Falcons, same. Most of Mina has looked pretty stagnant. I haven't seen too much improvement. And while, yes, other teams are coming in, Falcons is still winning. At the end of the day, objectively, they're still winning. I think they're a bit overrated, even on my own list. But I also go and look at their international results, and I go, okay, you guys played a really tough few teams. You still took energy to 7. And yeah, Furia may have made it a little bit further. I look at your strength of schedule. I look at what would be like a Boo Cole score and stuff, and you still did pretty dang well. So I think Falcons is known on LAN to be historically, which I hate using history and previous results as a current power ranking thing. But I think if we're talking international competition, which we only get to see twice a year until Worlds, I do want to believe that Falcons has the capability to go and make that run and do the thing. I have a firm belief that they're going to be consistent. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to play their play style. And even though with some of the faltering, they're still that team. So we'll see what happens with Falcons. I'm still like, any of these teams, I have a really tough time. These teams, I have a really tough time. Now to rip off the Band-Aid, the one you're all going to be pissed at, I don't even care at this point. It's Vitality. I understand. I understand they don't look good. Okay? I understand they're not performing great. But they're still making the semifinals. In what is, my opinion, the best region in the world. Like, they're still making the semifinals. They're still putting up a fight despite looking awful. Like, I watched that Dignitas series, and it is more credit, in my opinion, to Dignitas than it is against Vitality. Dignitas dominated the boost control. Jack was quite the aggressor and the facilitator for that team. Like, Stizzy was putting away shots. Like, Dignitas gets their credit. But you guys have heard me talk about this numerous times. On LAN, Vitality is a different team, and that's what this is a comparison of. International competition on LAN. I have seen this narrative so many times of Monkey Moon's team kind of looks like doo-doo. They don't look that great, and then they go and win the whole thing. I think the argument this time is that Drawley's in his way rather than on his team. But I'll be critical. I hate pointing out one player because it is definitely more. Monkey Moon's got to make sure that he stays aggressive. He's still got to make sure that he is persistent and that he is willing to challenge and do the things, even if he's losing confidence in his teammates behind him. Exotic, your touches have been awkward. They've been weird. I think there's some things that definitely need to see some improvement from Team Vitality. Despite all of this, it is a team game. You can't do it all alone. I agree. Monkey Moon not doing it this time. I probably agree with that. But that's because it's a team effort. And like Zen is dragging that team. Zen is doing everything he can to will that team to find success. And if that's what it's taking for them to win, I can't imagine if the others just have a little bit more. And we have seen that in the past. On LAN, the team looks better on LAN. That was a terrible sentence. On LAN, the team looks to improve. I think historically they are a LAN-based team when they play. I will not be surprised if they lose a quarterfinal or a semifinal match. Or what would that be? Quarterfinal and then top 8. So I would not be surprised if they lose like lower round 1 or the quarterfinal. I would not be surprised. I think any of these teams in the top 8 can wholeheartedly beat each other. And I think that even applies to the top 2. But Vitality, this one's going to piss off a lot of people, and I know it. I could have Vitality anywhere from 7 to 3. I think that applies to all these teams. I could move any and shift these in any order, make arguments for every single one. It's tough. I think this is just one giant section, and then we've got our top 2 that are clear favorites. I don't even need to hide these. You guys know exactly who these are. It's no surprise. K-Corp, sure, they lost in Game 7, but they still have made every grand final. Here's the stat for you guys. K-Corp formed in October of last year. They played in Flip and Spin against Dignitas and won, and have not missed a grand final since they have formed as a team. They have been in every grand final of every event they have played since October of last year. They're the best in the world. Everybody's trying to play catch up. Glad to see Dignitas was able to show some flaws in them, but you best believe now that they've been challenged, they're going to come back even stronger. As for Energy, same thing. Energy has had some falterings, and I've definitely had my concerns about Energy. Seems like they have figured it out. They look dominant. They looked really, really good in their opening rounds as they started to face other competition. A little bit of adversity, but overall, Energy solidified. They are top dog. So we will see what happens. That is what I have for my top 10 with an honorable mention, and I agree. Shuffle these. Put them in a random name generator or random order generator. Shuffle them around. We can make arguments there too. But that is what I've got. That is what I have for my power rankings. I know it's going to cause some hubbub in the comments, but just know I understand. There's arguments for all of these, but I'm going to go off of what I believe will happen if these teams are to compete at a major. Still a long ways away. We still got a whole nother event to go through with NA going on later today. We'll be streaming them. Come hang out with us, twitch.tv/Lawler. Appreciate you guys if you've made it all this far. But if you guys enjoyed the content, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.